Interesting fact. There are hundreds of thousands of Israelis who live in the land of Israel, but they don't live in the state of Israel. How is that possible? Let's find out. Shalom, my friends. This is the Kiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions and want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. Hundreds of thousands of Jews, Israeli Jews, live in the land of Israel, but not technically the state of Israel. How is that actually possible? Well, these hundreds of thousands of Israeli Jews live in the area of Judea and Samaria, which is for sure and obviously and very clearly part of the land of Israel. And that's most of the reason why they live there, to connect to the biblical lands, the places where biblical stories took place, the heartland, so to speak, of the land of Israel. But these lands are not technically part of the state of Israel. Again, how is that possible? Let's take a look at it. Judea and Samaria have been part of the land of Israel since the land of Israel was connected to the people of Israel, and the people of Israel have been connected to the land of Israel. But in modern day times, when the lines were drawn between countries and around areas and around territories, the land of Judea and Samaria was not included in the state of Israel that was born, that was created in 1948. That land was kind of a land that wasn't very clear what to do with it. There was the 1947 UN partition plan that talked about, that was a resolution that talked about creating two states in the land that was left of the mandate of Palestine that was given to the British by the League of Nations after World War I. And there's supposed to be a Jewish state and there's supposed to be an Arab state. The UN voted on it, they passed it, the Jewish leadership celebrated it, accepted it. The Arab leadership did not accept it. They rejected it and started a war the very next day. And that was Israel's War of Independence, which lasted about a year and a half. Israel won that war. And at the end of the war, what was called the Green Line was drawn between Israel and its neighbors, basically around the territory that was the newly created Jewish state. Now, part of that line went between Israel and Lebanon. Part of that line went between Israel and Syria. These were established countries, between Israel and Jordan, and between Israel and Egypt. But there were areas where that line was drawn between Israel and territories that were not countries, that had not been countries, that were supposed to be countries. It was a big, big question mark. And the area of Judea and Samaria was immediately taken illegally by the country of Jordan. And that was the situation from 1949, when the Green Line was actually drawn after the War of Independence, until 1967. In 1967, the Six-Day War, 6 days of unbelievable, miraculous events in Israel, which changed Israeli history and Middle East history. And Israel defeats multiple Arab neighbors along its borders, including Jordan. And Israel drives Jordan out of Judea and Samaria. Now, just for a very, clear understanding, this is the area north and south of Jerusalem, basically. Wide, large areas of land north and south of Jerusalem. And Israel overtakes this land, and they bring in their military. And eventually, over the years, without going into all the details of the story, it's a pretty long and complicated one. Eventually, Israeli civilians, specifically in the 1970s, start creating communities in the area of Judea and Samaria, what the international community calls settlements. And at first, the numbers were very low, a few thousand, then it grew to 10,000, then a few tens of thousands. And today, there are hundreds of thousands of Israeli Jews living in communities dotted around Judea and Samaria. Now, it's very clear that they're living in the land of Israel. Again, this is the heartland. This is the area where so many of the biblical stories took place. But because Israel never annexed this land, Israel never annexed Judea and Samaria, these lands north and south of Jerusalem, while they control these lands militarily and in other ways as well, Israel never actually annexed these lands, never making it official and legal part of the state of Israel. Now, they are citizens, they have rights, they have services and all those things, just like any other Israeli citizen. But the land that they're living in is actually not part of the state of Israel, again, because Israel never annexed it. What brings them to live in these lands? For most of them, it's a passion to live in this heartland of the land of Israel. Also, many of them are motivated by the idea that where Jews live, it's better for security. It's better for the security of the entire nation, so that our enemies can take over that land and then use those swaths of land as launching pads for attacks against Israeli and the Jewish state. For some people, it's economic. Many years ago, many decades ago, at the beginning of these communities being developed and created and lived in, prices were very, very low. Prices since have gone up, just like in other areas around the state of Israel. But for the most part, things are cheaper there. Also, the communities are very, very tight. They're very, very close with one another. They're very communal. Incredible community support between families and kids and schools and synagogues and the life. It's a really, really nice life. And that's also a big reason why many people like to live there. Again, it's an interesting fact that hundreds of thousands of Israelis today live in the land of Israel, but not in the state of Israel. Of course, that's been a big question on the table for many decades. Should Israel annex the area of Judea and Samaria? Maybe that's something we'll explore in another video. But for now, we'll just leave it at that interesting fact that these hundreds of thousands of Israelis who are very connected to Israel, very, very in love with Israel, and love the fact that they live in the land of Israel, don't technically actually live in the state of Israel. All the best, my friends, and be well.